What's good, producers? It's Curtis King of CurtisKingBeats.com here with another Producer Motivation 911. Producers, when you're in the leasing business, I highly suggest that you never, ever delete your beats unless they've sold exclusively. Watch this clip.
Oh my gosh.
And that's the new green. That's not there.
Yeah, I see the guard. I probably broke the record on selling the most beats at once, exclusive rights for real money, not like $10 each or $1 each or nothing. I sold about 300 and something beats exclusively at once to one company. Yeah, 300 and something. So it's pretty crazy. They needed them for an app that they're making. They needed a lot of music for that. They have artists too. They do video games. They needed video game music. They needed music for all types of stuff. It's an investment for them and a tax write-off. And it's a come up for me. I got lucky, dude. And I mean, I had the product obviously, so it's hard work that got that. I mean, if I didn't have the product, you know, luck wouldn't have just made it happen.
Now, this is an extreme example of the benefit of not deleting your beats. That man had over 300 something beats and he sold how many exclusives did he sell? And he went out and copped that whip. It's amazing. And obviously he's a rare situation, but it goes to show that your beats and the amount of beats that you have in your catalog is your biggest asset. Now, why do most producers want to delete their beats? Well, they get in their feelings. They start thinking about, man, I've gotten so better since I first started making beats, or I'm light years ahead of where I was, and now I'm this and now I'm that, and my equipment is better. And all of these things may be fact. You may be a better producer. You're supposed to be a better producer. You're supposed to progress no matter what. So that doesn't change from 3 years from now or 5 years from now. And to be honest with you, I'm just not a believer in having to delete those just because they're old. I don't think that's a good enough reason. I don't even think that deleting a beat because it doesn't sell is a good enough reason. And in this producer motivation today, I'm going to make my case for why I feel like you shouldn't delete those beats. For starters, artists are different, man. Every artist is different. No artist is created the same. Every artist has a different idea of what beauty is when it comes to production. You may have a beat that you think is the ugliest thing in the world, but for some artist who's coming up and maybe was at the same stage you were at when you were creating that beat, that may be the most glorious sounding beat to him. You sample the Isley Brothers, I'm loving you forever, and you got so good at sampling in the next few months that you hate that beat. Here's why you shouldn't delete it. An artist comes along, he listens to your catalog, he hears that sample. He falls in love with that beat because of that sample. Why? Well, maybe because his first date with his girl, they were sitting in the car playing oldies, and then that song came on. That song resonates with him. That song is perfect. It's the perfect dedication to his lady. And guess what? You created that moment. No matter how amateurish, no matter how quote unquote whack the beat may be, you created that moment for him. And he has to capture that feeling that he feels when he heard your beat. Now that's one scenario. There's many different scenarios in which a beat can evoke a certain feeling and a certain emotion and inspire something out of a certain artist. Every artist is not looking for the same beat. Every artist is not even looking for a well-mixed beat. Some artists love beats that are just distorted all over the place and everything is in the red because they think that it sounds a little bit more edgy, a little bit more underground. Hey, who are you to dictate to them what they should like? So that being said, do not delete those beats. Every beat that you make has the potential to make an impact on somebody else's life. Another reason you shouldn't delete your beats. I'm a firm believer that the more beats that you have on your website, the more opportunities you have to make money. I mean, go back into the clip with Superstar O. Look how many beats he was able to sell exclusively because he had those on deck. The biggest problem is producers being such perfectionists, they never even make it to 100 beats. They don't even have the opportunity for a company to come buy them out. They don't even have the opportunity to ball out off of their page because they're deleting every opportunity for somebody to come in and bless them with a huge lump sum for some exclusive beats. And when you got 200 beats on your website, you don't get 200 beats. I don't care if it's 200 whack beats. You don't get that by not putting in some form of work. What it shows artists is that you have a track record. You have to understand there's beauty in growth. There's beauty in displaying your growth. There's beauty in somebody saying, man, this dude has grown leaps and bounds. Or somebody else saying, man, he's got so many dope beats. If somebody likes the worst beat on your page, imagine how they feel about the best beats on your page. That whole thing may be an opportunity for somebody to continue to come back and invest into your website. Don't delete your beats. I've had many artists that tell me that they use my SoundClick as a playlist. So they'll sit there having a kickback or chilling with their homies, and they'll literally play my beats, tag and all, as a backdrop. And they'll basically have conversations about beats that they want to cop. If you don't have enough beats to last for a 30-minute, 40-minute playlist, you got to do some work. But guess what? If you don't delete your beats, it shows the work that you have done. You have more opportunities for artists to skim through these beats and really go back and find specifically what they want. You give them more opportunities to buy. Why not provide that to them? And you know what's crazy is that in the leasing business, this is very unique, because if you were owning a restaurant and you had 150 items on your menu, you out of business. No good. People end up picking the cheapest thing and moving on. But guess what? All of these beats tell a story. All of these beats are the same price. All of these beats mean something different to somebody else. That being said, don't delete your beats. Don't delete your beats. I've had beats that never sold, not one lease. But somebody came in and scooped it up for 200 or 250 exclusively. So was that beat not worth keeping up there? Will the car note that helped me end up paying? It'll definitely say that was a good choice to leave that beat up there. And you may get to this point and say, look, Curtis, I understand what you're saying, but I really, really hate the way this beat makes me feel. Okay, fair enough. But before you delete, give me one more opportunity to sell you on why you shouldn't delete it. How about instead of deleting, you repackage the beat? How about you change the title of the beat? Because maybe it's not the actual beat that's making it hard to sell. Maybe it's the title. Try changing the title. Try changing the artist that you use as a representation of that beat. After you've repackaged it on your website, if it still doesn't sell, I challenge you to do one more thing. Give it a better mix. All the things that you have learned in the last few months that have helped you jump leaps and bounds, will take that knowledge back to your old beats. Go collab with your old self. Beef those beats up, put them back on a website. All of a sudden they have new life. Once again, another reason not to delete your beats. I will say it again. Your beats are your property and you are in the real estate business. Your beats are your houses and your apartment complexes. Some of them get rented, some of them get bought. In this business, in the leasing business, the more property you have, the more opportunities you have to get paid. The more opportunities you have for people to come swoop up your property or to rent your property in the form of a lease. But if you know anybody in the real estate business, they'll tell you the reason why it gets so difficult is because it costs so much money to go remodel one of these homes. It costs so much money and it's not guaranteed that these houses will sell. But guess what? Your property, your homes, your apartments are your beats. And it costs you absolutely nothing but time to go revamp one of your properties. Revamp your property, repackage it, redeliver it, reformat it, remix it, but don't delete it. These are my thoughts. I would love to hear yours. This has been another Producer Motivation 911, Curtis King of CurtisKingBeats.com.
It ain't a game.
Welcome to the